Because the things I told you in 2020 and 2021.
Yes, sir.
Now they're inside Fauci's diary.
Yes, sir. You read that, sir.
So we'll have time to look at that during your Love World specials. We'll give attention to that. So you should make no mistakes about that. We will be back.
Yes, sir.
So I want you to watch this poison in plain sight. Watch.
The Earth is governed by a delicate chemical balance. For millennia, life evolved alongside natural elements. But in the modern era, that balance has shifted. Every day, trillions of microscopic compounds enter our air, water, and soil. The deadliest threats are often the ones we cannot see. Unlike predators, toxins have no face, no sound, no warning.
Ladies and gentlemen, our world is being poisoned. Every day we're exposed to more chemicals sprayed into our skies, leaching into our food, and polluting our air and water. From pesticides and heavy metals to hormone disruptors and synthetic additives, these toxins are bombarding our bodies and silently destroying our health.
This could have been avoided. This could have been avoided decades and decades ago.
In the past, when hunters dipped their spears in snake venom, it was the first time in history that people used nature's poisons against each other. It wouldn't be the last one.
Toxicon is poison that's used on arrows. You know, when the Greeks went to war, they understood how to poison the arrows so that when they fired the arrows, their victims were sure to die. Not just from the wounds of the arrows, but from the poison.
Ancient civilizations started using poison in battle a very long time ago. The people who lived in South America before Europeans came there made deadly darts out of plant and animal parts. The Chinese, Greeks, Romans, Persians, and Mongols all used poisonous gas, usually sulfur in the form of fire, to drive the enemy away. A toxicologist named Alfred Swain Taylor said in the 1800s, "A poison in a small dose is a medicine, and a medicine in a large dose is a poison."
Potential health hazards found in popular skincare products.
Every day, millions of people apply cosmetic products without giving a second thought to what they contain. Yet behind these labels are harmful chemicals, including known carcinogens such as benzene, along with endocrine-disrupting compounds
Of products, because they mean it. They mean it. They want to kill as many as they can. And they have some of these poisonous chemicals in soaps, your bathing soaps, and body creams.
CeraVe, dermatologist recommended, yet it's full of toxins. This is one of the biggest tricks in the book. Dermatologist recommended doesn't mean it's safe. In fact, over 50% of the chemicals in here are petroleum-based, many of which are hormone disruptive. And this key ingredient, ceramide, is a known metabolic disruptor. It also contains petrolatum, which is petroleum jelly, refined oil, and dimethicone, which is like a silicone into your body can't use it. So for the love of God, stop wiping synthetic toxins all over your body.
Sunscreen users had increased risks of every single type of skin cancer, including invasive melanoma, squamous cell carcinoma, and basal cell carcinoma. But the invasive melanoma was 300% higher in the sunscreen users, higher than all the other cancers. That, yeah, you use sunscreen, you're at an increased risk of skin cancer. And there's lots of biological plausibility behind sunscreens causing cancer. The first one is that a recent analysis of like hundreds of sunscreen products found that 27% of them are contaminated with benzene, a known human carcinogen. And so now that we have a JAMA study showing that sunscreen ingredients are rapidly absorbed into the bloodstream upon topical administration, that means the benzene is rapidly absorbed into deep into the skin. And so you literally are slathering carcinogens over yourself while at the same time blocking vitamin D production, which is literally critical for cancer defense.
For most Australians, sunscreen is a way of life, but there are now serious concerns the products designed to protect us could be putting our health at risk.
These could potentially be harmful to the human beings.
The Therapeutic Goods Administration accused of concealing information about two chemicals known to be hormone disruptors. One of them, homosalate, its concentrations restricted in many countries. The European Union recently capping its use to 7%.
It could lead to loss of fertility. It could cause just mood swings and imbalance.
Another chemical under scrutiny, methylbenzylidene camphor, or 4-MBC. It's found in more than 100 sunscreens, including Banana Boat Kids Roll-On, Kids Spray and Baby Roll-On products.
Most of the chemical sunscreens are not recommended for kids.
Then they now tell us the average life expectancy in a country. How do they know? It's these things.
This database from the Environmental Working Group rates the toxicity of 69,000 cosmetic products. The EWG claims all products contain cancer-causing ingredients. She points out you're not just putting on one product with trace amounts of these chemicals, but potentially dozens throughout the day.
And then I told you about the GMO in foods and drinks. It's all part of the same plan.
For decades, these barbaric multinational corporations have continuously infiltrated the food supply chain with harmful genetically modified organisms. The intersection of chemistry and nutrition by major scientific institutions has made the global food supply rely heavily on chemical inputs, thereby increasing the risk of illnesses such as cancer, hypertension, and kidney failure through these poisonous chemicals in our food and water. The FDA has quietly approved a new name for GMO foods. This new label is known as bioengineered food ingredients.
This is the FDA's new term, genetically modified organisms, what we used to call GMOs. Basically what happened is companies used to have to put on the front of their package a big GMO label, though as more and more consumers became aware of the dangers of GMOs, they started buying less of those products. Big food companies made less money, which they can't have that, you know? So they went straight to Congress and heavily lobbied to have a national law that wouldn't make labeling as alarming to shoppers. So in 2016, Congress passed something called the National Bioengineered Food Disclosure Standard, officially replacing the word GMO with bioengineered. So what does the word bioengineered actually mean? According to the USDA, it's when a food contains genetic material that's been altered in a lab, something you wouldn't find naturally in nature. In other words, scientists literally edit the DNA of a crop.
This will tell you why a lot of people, after many years, they lied to you when they told you that when you get to be 50 years old, 55, 60, 68, that you will come up with certain kind of sicknesses. Do you know how they knew? I want to tell you, not because of age. They knew that if you continued taking certain things that they were giving you, if you were taking them over a period of time, at a certain point in your life, by the time you're 40, they know the sickness you will have. By the time you're 50, they know the sickness you will have. All these things were programmed because they knew what they sold to you.
Those cheap, easy calories. And they converted those into a whole panoply of ingredients that it was able to reassemble. And those products are so rapidly absorbed in our system that they cause metabolic havoc. They target the brain reward circuits to keep us coming back for more. They trigger overeating. They deprive us of any sense of fullness.
What's wrong with corn and soybeans? When you hear corn and soy, you think food. This is not corn on the cob. This is commodity corn. It's not the sweet corn we eat in the summer?
No, you can't eat it, in fact. It's all starch. These are raw ingredients for processed foods and animal feed.
So the government is subsidizing crops that are making us unhealthy.
Yes, yeah.
Just for the records, A lot of these maize, which they're now growing to get their corn seeds, you cannot regrow them. And you should get your government to reject the genetically modified maize seeds that they are providing. Don't take them. They've been carefully modified to become dangerous to health. Some of them are causing cancer. A lot of them are causing infertility, including sperm neutralization.
It is no longer news that toxic chemicals and heavy metals such as lead, arsenic, cadmium, and mercury have silently contaminated our food and water. From baby foods to countless processed and canned products, these dangerous substances have found their way into everyday meals.
There was a paper a number of years ago that showed that if your lead level was over 2, which is, quote, within the normal limits, which, by the way, affects almost 40% of the population has this lead level, that your risk of stroke goes up 89%, the risk of a heart attack goes up 150%, the risk of death goes up from a heart attack 55%, and this is more than smoking or cholesterol or and it's like, well, why doesn't your cardiologist talk to you about this?
Many of the doctors that say those things, they don't even have a clue. They have no idea. They just read it in school. But they never knew it had to do with the medicines, the drugs, and the food that they were giving to people. It's in the terrible milk you've been drinking. It's in the beverages you've been drinking. You never knew.
This is by far the biggest fraud in food history. Some of these big names are at the center of this evil agenda, including the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, 3M, the United Nations, and the WEF.
Well, a new study that shows forever chemicals, or PFAS, could be in some of your favorite beer. Researchers at RTI International say it's caused by the source water a brewery uses in their production process.
The beer you drink could be contaminated with forever chemicals.
There is some variability from can to can, but at least one PFAS compound was detected in almost all beers analyzed.
A new study from RTI International tested different beer from across the world and right here in North Carolina. Smaller breweries near contaminated water sources had a higher likelihood of PFAS presence.
How does this impact beer enthusiasts? How does this impact beer drinkers in the Triangle?
If that location also has PFAS in drinking water, it's more likely that the beer also contains PFAS.
When you report to people that they've been drinking poison, a lot of them react the same way we are. They don't like it.
Humans are exposed to unsafe chemicals introduced into vaccine production, which gradually contribute to a global health crisis. These toxins can remain in the human body for years, potentially contributing to severe neurological disorders and turning people into lifelong experimental specimens.
Now, the CDC is reviewing substances found at toxic sites, and they have deemed these toxins as most significant threat to human health. Each is also in one of the more childhood vaccines that have also been added to the schedule. And so, asking the CDC to also verify this. Consider their dangers when injected into infants and children that don't seem to be understanding that.
The CDC has a division that specifically studies substances that are harmful to human health that are found at toxic waste sites. That's what they focus on, right?
Yeah.
So they have a list of things about 200 of the most toxic substances. Well, periodically they re-review that list and they look at those substances again. Well, at least 4 of those substances are specifically found in vaccines. They're not only being exposed to human beings at toxic sites, they're literally in the vial injected into a small baby.
Which means this can be well embedded in that substance that is in the syringe. It's injected into the human body. These are the things making the kids sick. The vaccinations, they made it such, they got the governments to make sure that vaccination for babies was made compulsory. Vaccination for kids, by the time you're 2 years old or up to 6 years old, you've taken 16 to 80 vaccines, depending on which country you're from. It's terrible. And these vaccines just introduction of poisons into the human body.
More poisons being dumped into us. This is pre-vaccine, which isn't to say that the vaccine hasn't played a role in our declining health. It most certainly has. But the ultimate point is that there isn't really any one thing. It's all of these things that are being used by those who are evil and really in control to gain more and more power for their agenda.
The reality is they have been trying to kill us. They've been trying to poison us.
What we have witnessed is the use of humans as lifelong specimens in pursuit of their evil agenda, given their track record with DDT and other poisonous chemicals.
And you need to be able to say no to deception.
They shall take up serpents, and if they drink any deadly thing, it shall not hurt them. They shall lay hands on the sick, and they shall recover. Mark 16, verse 18.
To be forewarned is to be forearmed.